All right, so today we're going to be discussing the rise of cancel culture. And there's an increasing dispute whether or not it benefits our society overall. Some people see it as being a bully or divisive, and others claim that it's a means to combat abusive behavior and exploitation of power.
Some examples are like when J.K. Rowling claimed that, I think it was a tweet, she said that transgendered rights would hurt women's rights.
It was like a whole blog post.
And then the Goya CEO, remember that? When he said that Trump was a blessing to Hispanics everywhere.
I don't know what he was bugging.
I don't know who Trump was a blessing to exactly. But,
In what world?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about cancel culture. Whether you think it's like someone holding somebody accountable for their actions or whether or not it infringes on a person's actual personal, freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure a lot of people like you out there have a lot of strong opinions about it.
Absolutely. Okay.
Let's do this, y'all.
Cancel culture.
You're canceled.
Is that how that goes?
So according to Webster's dictionary, the definition of cancel culture is the practice of engaging in mass canceling as a way of expressing disapproval or exerting social pressure.
Exerting social pressure, yes.
Right.
That's literally all of Twitter. Just social pressure. Literally all of it.
So what do you think cancel culture is? Because I think we all have a little spin on it, as you kind of mentioned, in the beginning. So what do you think cancel culture is, Maya?
I mean, I think it's definitely a good way to cancel.
It's a good way to cancel culture.
But no, it's, I think it's definitely a good way to check people who need to be checked. Sometimes I do think it can be taken out of hand.
Yeah.
But it's a way to check people who are in power who might not have been checked otherwise.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think that's a big part of it is that if it's a person that has significant sort of like power, and is actually sort of abusing that power in an actual way as opposed to someone saying something stupid and it's kind of just cancel them, blah, 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 Or,
Wait, what did they do?
I think cancel culture, being Captain Old School, of course. Cancel culture is just a new word for old thing. It's boycotting. That's all cancel culture is boycotting something.
I see what you did there.
I see what you did.
Yeah, it's in all the different ways. Now you just have more ways you can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
As opposed to
100%.
back in the day.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's all this is,
Exactly.
boycotting. I don't like something, so I'm going to not
Support
or whatever and try to get as
Yeah.
many people to be down with that.
And
That's
it
all
seems
this is, just
and it
boycotting.
seems like certain people don't understand that aspect of it.
Right.
Like remember when the whole like cancel Colin Kaepernick was happening when Nike was
Right.
being like,
Right.
hey, we're gonna push up this person who's standing up for equal rights.
Right.
And then people were like, no, we're not gonna support
What did they
Nike.
do? What did they
And
do again?
Buy Nike products just to burn them.
Yeah, and
Right,
Nike
yeah,
was like,
right.
okay.
Thank you.
Cha-ching.
I know. I would say, just feeding on of what all of you said, you're right. It is a form of boycotting, but it's also accountability. And I think, you talked about the freedom of speech and all that. Yeah, you can have freedom of speech.
Absolutely.
That's what we have. That's what this country is about. But you also have to,
take the consequences.
Take the
'Cause
consequences.
people-
Right. That's the thing with freedom of
Exactly.
speech. It's like you have the
Exactly.
freedom to say whatever you want. You're not going to get jailed for it like
Right.
you could in
Right.
other places.
That's right.
That's what that means.
Exactly.
Right.
But
I
we
have
have
freedom
the freedom to cancel you.
Yeah.
to
But
not
exactly.
like you or not support you or
Right,
not buy
exactly.
you.
Again, it's a whole thing of a business has the right to like fire you if they don't if what you're talking about doesn't match their sort of like ideals.
Right, exactly. And you
Going
see a
on,
lot
too.
of that going
like
on.
with people who do things and get caught on camera or whatever, and then they find
On
out
4K?
they get fired. Yeah. Next thing you know, find out who this person
one of
is,
those
and sure
things.
enough, a week later,
Bam.
they're going.
Finds
they're
out.
from their
Fired and
job.
canceled.
So, and you know what? Like you said, it's a new word, cancel culture. You hear it all the time. I hear it every single day. Every single day I hear about cancel culture. Every day. What are some examples of a cancel culture so people kind of understand what that looks like?
Not too recent, but one that comes to mind is like Kevin Hart.
Okay.
Like, he got in trouble for some tweets that he spouted out about sort of his son being gay and how he was like, he's not going to let him play with dolls and stuff like that. And that's the thing that got him kicked off hosting the Oscars.
Right.
Didn't he make those statements still 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that.
Well,
No, that's the thing about. I guess that's the difference between cancel culture and boycotting, right? Cancel culture, it seems, that's one of the differences. Cancel culture will dig back, way back on
because
something
of
that
because
you
of
did.
the internets.
Right, because of the internet.
And sometimes it could be used just to harm a person, with no other reason than to harm a person.
Right.
I don't know if you guys remember, like there was this whole thing with James Gunn, who's the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Okay.
So like there was this alt-right dude on Twitter that started posting all this old stuff that James Gunn used to tweet, based off the fact that James Gunn was going hard against alt-right people, like in his Twitter and stuff like that. So this alt-right dude found these old Twitters about James Gunn making like dead baby jokes and stuff like that. You know, like gross stuff. But James Gunn came up in Trauma, which is like, you know, gross out horror stuff in film and stuff like that. So because of all this, Disney fired him. You know, from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Yeah, it was a whole
That's a big cancel.
It was a big cancel.
That's your money.
That's right.
And but James Gunn, you know, like being gracious about it, was like, okay, I made these tweets. I'm sorry about it. I'm gonna take this gracefully. And it wasn't until the whole campaign, including fans and even cast members, came out to support him, being like, he's not a gross person or anything. Yeah, he's not that dude.
He's not that guy.
You know,
yeah,
so
exactly.
Disney looked at that. They rehired him. You know, and all was sort of like right with it. You know?
There's some redemption in cancel culture as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything isn't black and white when it comes to cancel culture, which sometimes it can be, but then, you know, there are moments where, you know, you look at the person, look at what they did and see how they respond, like with the whole Nick Cannon thing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So Nick Cannon had made some anti-Semitic, racist type of remarks on a show. He was on with Professor Griff. Professor Griff was a member of Public Enemy. So he made these statements, and you know, he kind of pushed back on them for a good little bit, but he has since apologized. But as a result of him actually making those statements, he was let go from one of his gigs, and we know Nick Cannon has 1,000 gigs.
Was he on what's the one?
Wilding Out and
America's Got Talent.
So what happened was, you know, he was fired from his from Viacom for his latest project, but what ended up happening is he kind of atoned for it. So in a recent interview in March of this year, he actually stated that it was a journey of atonement for him.
Didn't he actually like sit down with a Jewish scholar or whatever?
Yes, basically what he did was he educated himself, but his comments were anti-inflammatory and anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
But he atoned, and now he's gonna get his job back.
That's the way to do it, I think.
I think so.
You learn from your mistakes.
That's it. And I think that's a big part of it. It's like, why are people going to try to be better if you don't see the benefits of growing?
I agree.
You know?
You have a great example.
Oh, Jussie Smollett. Oh, Jussie. This one's kind of a hard one because it's just like he had a lot going for him. But when he
really did.
Basically, the situation, I don't know if you guys remember, when he claimed that he was attacked and beaten down in Chicago by people who were racist, these two guys who were racist.
Or they were homophobic or racist?
I believe it was both.
Yeah. Racist and homophobic. He included all the
homophobic. They don't want to talk
racist,
people.
Right.
He just don't like you.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So he claimed that these people beat him up and that he was called these names and things of that nature. But then later come to find out the two guys who did it, they were actually like blackety black, like Nigerian men. And
straight up Nigerian cats. I love that.
Like he knew them?
I think so. But basically they told the people who were investigating it, the cops, that Smollett paid them to kind of concoct a whole scheme and an assault thing to get more attention. Apparently because Smollett received a threatening letter and he wanted to get more attention for being threatened, so he concocted this whole crime.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
So is he permanently canceled?
I feel like he's still kind of canceled because when people think of him,
they think of that
incident.
Was he canceled was he fired from the show?
Yes, he was fired. He was fired.
So that's
a big cancel.
That's a big cancel.
You know, when you're messing with Machetta.
He was trying to, do his little music thing, and I think that was shut down.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
And he was talented. He's talented.
He made some good songs.
He's a talented guy.
That affected his bottom line. He couldn't even do the stuff that he wanted to do on his own because people would be like, nah, we want to just
distance ourselves
pretty
from
much.
them. Yeah, exactly.
We were talking about anti-Semitic comments before with Nick Cannon and how he sort of redeemed himself from that. I know a person who did have, or has yet to redeem themselves. Gina Carano of former wrestler or MMA fighter or something like that, who turned into an actor and was most popularly known for playing Cara Dune on Star Wars: The Mandalorian. Right?
That's a popular show.
Very popular show, and she had a good little gig going on for there. She was going to get her own spin-off show. She's probably going to be in a couple of other things.
Really?
Like she was kind of had made, and all she had to do was just not spout out stupid stuff.
Right.
But she came out wilding, and she did it it once, and people were kind of on her before.
Yeah.
And I think Disney was even kind of like, okay, you said this stuff, just don't say anything.
Don't
else.
just
Don't
stop.
say
Yeah,
anymore.
just
She couldn't help
Stop.
herself.
Yeah, just stop. But she couldn't help herself. And I think this came out either after the election where she was talking about anti-Semitic stuff, or
Right,
comparing like alt-right people to persecuted Jews.
Right.
That was her thing, and then that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Right.
Just like, you done. That's
Because
it.
previously, didn't she have some stuff like saying that the voting was rigged, that Joe Biden
Yeah, she was part of
election
part of that.
rigging,
Oh,
Yeah, she was part
all
of that.
kind of
camp.
other stuff. She's part of that whole camp.
Problematic.
Done, son.
And again, and again, sort of with this whole cancel culture thing, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're allowed to say it, and she thinks that it was infringing on her freedom to say that stuff. It's like, yes, you can totally say that.
Yeah,
stuff.
you weren't locked up.
Yeah,
That's
be prepared.
That's right. Be prepared.
But be prepared to lose.
Be prepared.
Knowing what kind of company Disney and Star Wars is,
Yeah.
and knowing even
Right.
the
Know where you work.
the values of Star Wars as a whole,
Right.
It's like you don't.
That show screams diversity.
Right.
Right.
All
You got the
people.
Wookiees and the
You got
right?
green
What-
people, purple people.
It's kind of one of those things where those core values, if they're undermined like that,
Yeah.
you're
you
gonna
can't have that.
Yeah, people
can't
looking
have
at
that.
you
Yeah, they
You
ain't
can't
gonna
have
let
that.
that slide.
Especially a core character like she was.
Exactly, and she was
Exactly.
she was
big
supposed
factor.
to be, she was a big character in the show, and she was supposed to be an even bigger character.
Wow.
So.
It just
messed up.
amazes me that people, they understand the climate we're in. They know what cancel culture is. Like, and you're still gonna publicly do that? Like, come
Well,
on, you gotta think a little bit.
You need to govern yourself. accordingly.
Cancel culture can be a little murky.
Oh,
Can be a little
okay.
murky because
All right.
certain situations. All right, so I got an example. So say Bill Cosby. Yeah, that's a little murky. Murky in the sense of so you got situations say a R. Kelly, right? As far as playing his music, right?
Done.
Because of the things he's done, canceled
Right,
or whatever.
yeah.
I guess
now-
let's specify that Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, they're done dirt. There's no murkiness with what they've done.
Right.
Well, no,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
get
know.
into
Yeah,
it.
I know. I just want to
definitely.
clarify.
Yeah,
that.
no.
Yeah.
R.
Yeah.
Kelly definitely terrible dude, the whole bit. In terms of, but made great. It's like separating the art from the art.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
That's what the situation is with both
that's
of them,
hard.
right?
Yeah.
So in R. Kelly's case,
It's hard.
terrible dude, deserves
Yeah.
to be where he is, whatever, but made great music.
Great
so
music.
do you listen to it? Or do you not listen to it?
and
So
you-
now, in places I go, some people still play it, but radio shut them down. You don't hear nothing on the radio.
Streaming services shut
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
Right.
on Spotify or anything like
He
that.
I
don't-
guess he should be.
He don't play at the Joneses barbecues.
No, not at the bottom. And he was a
Not
steady
at all.
rotation.
Oh my God!
You know what I'm saying?
You used to run Chocolate Factory.
All right,
to
all
the
right, okay, all
ground.
right, all right. That was in my past.
I know.
But see, we've learned.
But we've learned.
Well, that's what I'm saying with the Merc. So like Bill Cosby case, so he's in jail
Yep.
right now, convicted of raping a woman.
Raping and drugging.
Yeah, right.
Several
Yeah,
women.
several women.
Well, is he
yeah.
in jail
Dozens
for
of
the several or he's in jail for the one?
Well, I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know.
Yeah.
More than one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, in any
Well,
case,
In
Whatever
any
he's
case, in
convicted
jail.
for, sure,
Right,
but
and then
in
you have
any
the
case-
allegations for a whole bunch
Sexual
of whatever.
assault.
Sexual
Sexual,
assault.
yeah.
Right. So, and then you have like the Cosby Show.
right.
So we grew up on the Cosby Show,
Right.
and we love the Cosby
Yeah,
Show.
I don't think I can stop watching the Cosby Show. I just can't.
So
I feel, I'm different about that as far as here's the thing. I understand that so many other people worked on that show.
exactly.
Cast,
Right.
crew,
It hurts
producers,
them.
That's
all that
right.
kind
For
of stuff.
something
true.
they weren't even
Exactly.
part of.
That's right.
Shoot,
That's like with Roseanne.
shoot, even a more
Right. Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
And Roseanne is still going, but they changed it.
They
But anyway,
changed
Right,
it. Like,
yes.
yeah, Roseanne, and now they made it the Connors.
Right,
They took
yeah.
her out of it. But even now, a new thing that came out now with Armie Hammer. I don't know if you know about this
Oh
dude.
yes, I
Yeah,
heard.
yeah, this guy. He's an actor. You've seen him in a couple of things. He was the twins in The Social Network. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Social Network. Yeah. Got
yeah.
it.
The
Got
tall-
it.
Tall blonde
Yes,
guy.
yes,
He
yes,
played like
yes.
Lone Ranger.
So yeah, so he has all these sort of allegations going on with
Yeah.
him, and he's been dropped from a bunch of different projects. But there's this one movie, Death in Denial, that's supposed to be coming out soon. That was kind of delayed, and now it's kind of like, what do we do with that movie? We can't really put that out there because he's a big part of the movie. And it's like, what do you do with
What do you
that?
do?
How do you act with
And
that?
but again, it's like, well, a bunch of other actors are in it. Do you
Right.
punish them?
Right.
You know.
Well, then, like I said, excuse me, just one second,
go
just
ahead.
finish up. So then, taking it back to the Cosby, like I was saying,
yeah.
you got so many people. They made such good work on that. You know what I'm saying? And there's other people who wrote, produced the whole bit.
Right.
Situation.
I don't know.
There's a lot of
I watch.
people.
Is it back on now? Because I know they took it off for a while.
I'm not sure.
I'm not even sure if it comes
But
to TV.
we have all of the DVDs.
So I don't.
And it had an impact on us. It had
Right.
an impact
Right.
because it showed a positive black family doing their thing, and they talked about all kind of
So
issues.
you don't want him to ruin it for you.
No, it informed the way that we kind of conducted ourselves as parents.
Right.
You know?
I mean, I'm pretty sure you could point to so many situations
I
where
agree.
where a person has done horrible things, but it's like, but you
like
take
their
the, well, you take,
content
yeah,
and
you
their-
take, or you take the at least the work or the body of work in them,
Exactly.
and I can't think of any. I mean, we're thinking of specific
Woody
examples,
Allen.
but like,
What?
And they haven't canceled him.
oh,
They have
well,
They're starting to.
He
I
needs
think,
to be
with that
canceled with that
documentary.
documentary.
Well, I was about to say, yeah, the
Exactly.
I mean,
documentary
it's
was
like,
crazy.
Ooh-wee.
He needed to
starting-
be canceled.
I think no,
way
there
back.
was always,
You know
I think
what?
there was always a process of it because I mean, he was supposed to have a project out on Amazon, and this is like even a few years ago where Amazon was like, nah, we ain't gonna do that.
You know
So-
what? We could talk about people for days because
Yeah.
there are so many people that have been canceled.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Kevin Spacey. Like, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So we can talk about those people. But
Right.
do you think that cancel culture is it, should we keep that or should we educate? Like, just to kind of, pinpoint cancel culture and what we think about it.
I think, well, going back to what I said in the beginning, cancel culture is just another form of boycotting. Of course,
Yeah.
you got to have boycotting because it's a way to hold people
Accountable.
accountable and responsible for the things that they do.
Absolutely.
100%.
You have, like we said, you have the right to say and do what you want, but you're going to be held accountable for it because you just don't live
It's
in
just
the world
what
by
it is.
yourself.
It is what it is.
I
You know?
think that's maybe the bottom line of it in terms of like, it's cancel culture is, we have to define cancel culture as accountability because there's a difference between like stirring stuff up just to get rid of a person
You
you
don't
don't
Right,
like.
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
like
yeah,
it.
right,
the
right.
James Gunn
Like
example.
the James
Right.
Gunn example, or holding a person holding a person accountable for the wrongs that they've sort of like done,
Yeah.
and they're and that's another thing with it is their unwillingness to learn from that.
Right. How you respond
to it.
It is everything. Like
We all
with
make
the Nick,
mistakes.
right? With
Yeah.
the Nick Cannon example,
Exactly.
he chose to educate himself.
Yeah.
With this woman in Star
Jennifer
Wars,
Aniston, yeah.
she
She went hard. I think she's supposed to be on something.
Yeah, some kind of like parlor. Well, no, not parlor. I don't know. Some
One of
marriage
those,
period.
type of
right.
thing. So she's going
Oh,
even. Some
ew.
people go even harder.
Yeah, some people go even. Yeah.
So the intention for cancel culture is to make sure that people are held accountable, so they can educate themselves.
Cancel culture, people. Good, bad, indifferent. We know. I think we're all in agreement that it needs to be. It's holding people accountable for what they say and what they do.
I think
We just-
ultimately it's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
we just
yeah.
need to make sure that we know people understand the definition of what that is.
Right, and that
Exactly.
people do it the right way. Don't, threaten somebody's family or something because they said something that you don't like or said something wrong. Like, there's a way to do it to where it's beneficial.
Right.
And I
It could
think
be. It
that's-
can make things happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Look at Georgia and the NBL, MLB.
Yeah.
You know,
taking the
so
game out
you
of-
know,
yeah.
exactly.
That's
So
holding the whole state accountable.
that's
Right,
right.
and that's
so,
a good thing, I think.
So I want to let everybody know that we have a show that comes out every Wednesday at 6:00 Eastern Standard Time on
in.
YouTube and on Facebook Live.
Yes, make sure to subscribe
Every
to our
Wednesday.
YouTube channel.
Hit the notification bell on YouTube so you know when we have new videos.
Yes.
All that good stuff. Like, comment, all that good jazz.
On
Subscribe.
Twitter.
Where's it at?
No, stop it.
It's not.